everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good today. So Arccaptain sent me this plasma cutter quite some time ago, and I'm supposed to be doing a review on it. It's taken me a lot longer to get my shop set up than I anticipated. Anyways, I'm finally ready to test this thing out and let you guys know what I think of it, show you how it works and everything. First things first is just setting it up. So we've got everything we need here in the box. This hose, I think, is just for air. This is the cutting, the gun. I don't think that's called a torch. This is the plasma gun right here. So that's nice and long. It's got a nice long cord on it. We also have our ground cable here. I think that's got like an 8.5 or 9.5 foot cord on it, sorry. They send you this little adapter to go from a 220 kind of plug to a 110 kind of plug. So if you're cutting thinner material, you can use 110 power. If you want to cut something thicker, you can use 220. This thing apparently can cut up to 3/4 of an inch of steel or material, but apparently it doesn't do a clean job cutting anything more than 1/2 inch. So if you want a clean cut, it's going to be like a 1/2 inch. And then these is my cutting tips, and then also like just a shield. I think that's just to shield like the splatter kind of maybe from going all over the place. They also include some cool stickers if you're the kind of person who covers their welding helmet or their toolbox in stickers. This is the machine. It's actually super small and lightweight. This is actually pretty lightweight. They say that it's like portable, so I guess they kind of boast the fact that it's easy to move around and that it's lightweight, and it is actually quite lightweight. That's out of here. The cord on this is a decent length too. That's nice. I don't like it when things have super short cords. They also give you a couple hose clamps for your air hose, and then a shoulder strap if you want to be really portable with it. It also comes with this user manual, so I'm definitely going to be referring to that so that I hook everything up properly. So I'm going to hook all the hoses and the torch and everything, cutting gun, whatever you want to call it, up to this thing, and then we're going to get ready, set up to cut some material. Yay. Okay, so just looking at the front of the thing here, we've got a few different connections. So this one here is for the ground. This one is for the interface for the torch handle. I guess it is called a torch handle. And then this one here is for the torch itself. This does have a little rubber cap or boot on it, probably just to keep everything clean in there because you don't want any dust or dirt or anything like that getting inside of your cutting torch. So this looks all pretty straightforward. I'm going to start by hooking up my ground, and it does talk about all this stuff in the manual too, so you guys don't have to like make notes of my video or anything like that. So this is the interface. I don't even know what that means, guys, but that's what the instructions say. I guess that's where the electricity comes from. Threw that on there. Plug in the air line. There we go. We'll go around to the back of the machine. Okay, so around the back of the machine here is where you have the hookup for your air supply. And it also has its own little built-in regulator, which is super nice. They recommend having your air pressure set between 60 and 100 PSI. Anyways, the hose just goes on here, and then you can attach it with the hose clamps that they provide. I think I will eventually put a quick connect on there so that I can just quickly connect and disconnect it from my air compressor. Okay guys, so this thing's all set up and ready to go, and I actually attached my own quick connect to the one end of this hose here just so that I can easily attach it and disattach it from my air compressor. So there are a couple settings on here. So you have operation mode 2T and then operation mode 4T. This thing is capable of doing manual and robotic cutting. So the 4T setting would be for your robotic cutting. That's just going to give you like a continuous kind of cut, and it'll continue to cut until you actually pull the gun away from the material that you're cutting and break that arc. The 2T setting is the manual, so that'll only be when you're actually pulling the trigger that it will actually cut. You have your current here and post gas. So the post gas setting is just how long the air will be coming out of the tip to cool your tip once you're done cutting. So you can set that up to 15 seconds, and then if you leave it sit for a little bit, it just goes right back to current. So that's showing me that I'm set at 30 amps. I only have a 40 amp breaker wired into my garage, so we're gonna see how high we can actually use this thing. I'm gonna max it out at 40 amps anyway. So I'm all set up to cut over on the other end of my garage. I'll show you guys the material we'll be cutting, and then we'll get cutting some metal. I'm super excited. I'm gonna cut this 3/8 steel plate. I can actually go all the way up to 50 amps like I was saying before, so I'm expecting it's not going to cut any 1/2 inch material very well. And I don't have any 1/2 inch plate, so this is all I've got for 1/2 inch stuff. I'm gonna cut this super thin galvanized tin. I believe it's galvanized, so I'm gonna see how it cuts that. So I'll do that at a lower setting, of course. I've got this old broken wrench that I'm going to be cutting also. I'm gonna cut this 1/4 inch box tubing. I'm just gonna cut a little section out of that. And then I've also got this 1/8 inch aluminum plate, so I'm gonna cut a chunk out of this also, and we're gonna see how this thing does. I'm super excited. I just have a fire pit here actually with a grill over it to kind of catch the hot pieces and the splatter a little bit. But yeah, guys, let's try this out. And for the record, this is my first time ever using a plasma cutter, so I've got my machine set up to 30 amps and 80 psi, so that should be good for a while for most of this material, I think. Pretty cool. I like this thing. This is lots of fun. Let's try that a little better. A little more this time. A little more better. Okay, we're gonna move on to my next piece, which is the 1/8 inch aluminum. Whee! Okay, we're gonna try for this crusty old wrench. Whoa! It's just not making very good ground. There we go. I'm not doing a very good job of that. Or I'm moving too fast. I think that's it. I think the problem is I was starting in the air. I think you're supposed to start off touching the material to get the contact. And then you pull away. Oh my gosh, I'm moving too fast. So I've moved my setup outside because I don't like the fact that that stuff is just like uncontrollably spraying all over my garage. So we're gonna do it out here, and I'm gonna try to be a little more steady. I think I'm going too fast, and that's part of the reason how come it's splattering everywhere and why it's not cutting. I think I'm just moving too fast for the thickness of the material. So we're gonna try this again. And I've got it turned up to 37 amps now. I'm gonna try to be a little more steady. There we go, now it's cutting through. There we go, took a couple tries. I'm pretty sure that that's just me. I'm not going to blame the machine for that. I obviously am not very good at what I'm doing. Okay, so this piece that I've got here is slightly thicker. I'm gonna turn this thing up as high as my breaker will allow, which is 40 amps. I guess my dial, I forgot to lock in the regulator dial, so it had gone down to about 70 psi just about. That might have been part of my issues here with the cuts being messy. So I've got it turned up to about 85 now, and that should be good now. That's a much cleaner cut. This stuff should knock off pretty easily, which it does. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let's go for this 1/2 inch round stock. Oh, that actually cut that pretty good. I think this thing actually does pretty good cuts. And honestly, I think whatever kind of mess and stuff there is from me. I'm just not very good at this. I'm a first-time user. I've never used a plasma cutter before. I've never even used a cutting torch before. So whatever kind of mess and difficulty I was having definitely seems to be my thing, an operator error more than anything. Keeping the tip close, about 1 millimeter away from the material, is what it says in the book to do. I'm having a hard time kind of just holding steady like that and just finding the speed, but I think that all just comes with practice. Well guys, I really enjoyed using this little plasma cutter and I'm actually very happy with it. I would have to agree that this is definitely beginner friendly, as I am an absolute newbie to this whole thing. I've never used a plasma cutter and I'm just not very familiar with this kind of shop equipment whatsoever. But I had no trouble at all figuring out how to set this up. Super easy to set up, and just figuring out what mode I needed to use and stuff. It does talk about everything in this little manual, and it's just a really easy machine to figure out and super simple to use, guys. I also think that people who are more experienced with this sort of fabricating would enjoy this machine too, just because it's super lightweight and not some big bulky thing that you have to try to fit into your garage somewhere. And I have to give a big, huge shout out to Arccaptain. Thank you guys so much for sending this to me and for trusting me with a piece of your equipment. And also, I want to apologize to you folks over there for how long this has taken me to get this video out. But thank you so much for your patience while I get my life in order after my move. My garage is finally almost all the way set up. Anyway, guys, I think that this thing does really good, nice clean cuts too. Like, I just had to knock a little bit of slag off the corners of these and it chipped off super easily. And I think that with the bit of struggling that I was having, that was mostly just me not really knowing what I was doing and not following the instructions that I was given in the little instruction book. But once I started to kind of get the hang of it, things were going a whole lot smoother, as you guys saw. And I'm really looking forward to just playing around with this thing and making some cool stuff. Maybe I'll make some cool signs and stuff. But I want to thank all of you guys over at Arccaptain once again for sending this to me. I really hope you guys like this video, and if you guys are watching this and if you like what you see, or if you just like me, or even if you don't like me but you like my bikes, then like, comment, subscribe to all those things you guys do. And if you guys like these kind of reviews, let me know in the comments and I will try to get more of this kind of stuff out on my channel. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. So like always, my lovely YouTube people, I will catch you all on the flip side. Peace. Sailing from there. Design a tiny, stop it. Ow! Goes out here like a freaking hillbilly. Oh, it's a dust cloud. Oh, shoot. Started. Oh, I'm in the dust. Let's go at that again. And pretend it's the first time. Subscribe. Angel, you're retarded. Stupid.